We found out we were going back over, and we had to reconstitute really quickly just what we had. That American Mind training was the best thing because it made us realize how much SASO, it's not about how much lead or how much ammo you throw down range. It's, being like a surgeon and making precise hits at a specific time. After doing that, our gunnery wasn't as aggressive. We weren't getting that overwhelming firepower that we wanted to. So good thing we went through American Mind and we were able to say, hey, get that SASO mindset out of your brain. These targets here downrange are, no kidding, hostile enemy. You gotta shoot them, or they're gonna kill you. And that's what we did. So we went out there and we worked on gunnery, we worked on squad level 2 training.
And what was your relationship like with the first sergeant?
It was we were real close. We were definitely real close. I remember when first sergeant checked in. I said, "Thank God you're here." I said, we're way under TO. We need, I'm glad you're here. So kind of took him in with open arms because between then it was Gunny Vay who was kind of handling, the first sergeant deal and the company gunny, and Staff Sergeant Carpenter was the company gunny, but he was also, in handling some other things, and plus, his wife was battling cancer, so there were a lot of things that going on there. So by him going in there, he used that final piece that we needed to be TO. Every other company had a first sergeant. We didn't. So as soon as he got there, open arms. And I think the first night I went down to Palm Springs on Liberty, there was first sergeant walking around. So I grabbed him up under my arms and we went out, drinking out at the village pub. But just after that, him and I just had that habitual relationship.
What about your relationship with Gunny Vay?
Now, Gunny Vay is my brother. Gunny Vay and I hit it off real well right off the bat. Any man that can, ride another guy's motorcycle back from a Harley dealership, and especially when he doesn't have a license or whatever, myself, and he's willing to do it, is great. So him and I right off the bat just meshed.
So what happened with this motorcycle?
I pulled the Lance Corporal thing where I really wanted a motorcycle real badly, and they normally tell you should start off like on a 500cc bike. Well, I started off with 900cc's, and then I was on the waiting list. Went to Quaid's Harley down in Loma Linda, and all they had was 1200cc's. The dealer wanted to sell the bike. I wanted to buy a bike, so we met halfway, and I got this bike. But I didn't have a license or anything. Didn't have insurance, so I got it insured. It was 1200cc's, which is crazy. With no motorcycle experience whatsoever. I get back there and I call Gunny. It's 10 o'clock at night. He's getting ready to go to bed, and I'm calling like a little Lance Corporal, telling him I got this motorcycle, but there's one problem. I need him to go pick it up. So out of the goodness of his heart, he decides that he's gonna go down and pick up the motorcycle, and he gives me a little bit of guidance on how to break it in. But my whole process of learning how to ride and get experience was going out with him. So almost every weekend, him and I would ride.
Was riding motorcycles kind of part of the social culture among the officers and staff and COs?
It definitely was. It was starting to be that way because Colonel Lopez had a motorcycle, and it kind of just, it's like, beforehand, having motorcycles was almost like taboo in the Marine Corps or whatnot. You hear about the safety Alomars or whatnot, and the orange vests and all that, and they try to discourage it. But hey, you see the head guy get one, and everyone's got to have one. So sure enough, we all started getting motorcycles. In fact, one of the Marines in the company ended up getting re-enlisted. Colonel re-enlisted him on his Harley, so they both went out. That was during SASO training where I was back in the wire. That's another funny story about Captain Gannon, one of his things. But that was our bonding, me and Gunny, and him and I just got real tight.
What was your relationship like with the other platoon commanders while you were XL in Lehman Company?
Real good. I wanted to be that big brother, more or less. be the sanity check. You know, I'm the one person that the CO can vent to me and the platoon commanders can vent to me, and I can take it all in and turn it around and give it to the CO and for his perspective and give it to the platoon commanders. And then, you know, before the CO has to dig into them, I can go in and smack the platoon commanders around or whatnot, or I shouldn't say smack them, but you know, I can throw a punch them or chin check them and say, you know, hey, you know, you really need to reconsider, you know, how you're going to attack this problem or whatnot. They all know that they have a direct link to the company commander, but I'm a good sounding board to hear, you know, if there's something on their mind that they're thinking about, they can check it out with me because they know I'm not going to backstab them. That'd be the last thing I'd want to do. And I think by doing that, I'm the guy that's in no one's chain of command, kind of like the company gunny. I can be in everyone's chain of concern, and just you know, build on that.
How did your relationship with the platoon commanders change after you took over as CO?
That was a tough one. Being that I had to relieve one, and you know, we all knew where we stood. If anything, you know, we were very tight, and they never ever put themselves in a predicament where, you know, they questioned my authority. I never felt like my authority was being threatened. The hard part though was that some of these guys were very well. We're going to be my, you know, we're going to be roommates. Like Watson was moving into my house prior. After I got back from OF1, Caroline and Rugi, you know, not him and I, all three of us went snowboarding, you know, before we went out. You know, these guys that these were going to be like, you know, these were more or less my drinking buddies or whatnot. And then, you know, in a flash of a hat, you know, it's not like that anymore. The thing is, in front of the Marines, we were very professional, but then pulling aside if needed to. They all know who I was and I knew who they were, and we could, every now and then you could pull off to the side and, you know, just talk to each other as, you know, peer to peer or whatever. And sometimes we had to do that and say, hey bro, look, this is what I need you to do. I know you don't agree with me, but you gotta follow me on this one, you know. You gotta look at it from my perspective, you know, you gotta look at it from my shoes, you know.
Can you kind of characterize each one of those officers in some detail? What would you say about each of those guys? Okay,
I'd say hands down my best platoon commander out there, organically to the company. Now this is not including attachments. Would be Aaron Autry, second platoon commander. Very level-headed. Was a prior sergeant, prior staff sergeant. Didn't say a lot, but he was very smart and very, you know, methodical, and had a good, sound, solid approach to attacking issues or attacking problems or going into the fight. Dan Carroll, a lot of very active, you know, very zesty, very peppy, very loyal. But I saw him age over the 7 months because he took the most casualties. Definitely loyal to the Marines, definitely loyal to the company. Wants to do the right thing.
Is that a factor in his getting out?
I think so. He's carrying a lot of weight on his shoulders. Knowing that, you know, the 6 was lost when he was out there. Knowing that, you know, he saw Gibson, Smith, Van Leuven, you know, four of his guys, you know, in one fell swoop get killed. It definitely bothered him. Then after that, seeing Lugo get killed, he saw legitimately. He saw that his platoon go from, you know, 43 strong, you know, 44 strong, down to like 22 or 21 personnel. You know, where he was carrying like 7-man squads, and that's just over KIA and WIA being medevaced and guys EASing. So, but you know, even with that, you know, he said, hey, here's my combat power. You know, if you